And if there is a move to deport immigrants, I say then start with me. And if we're going to question immigrants and deport immigrants, then who is safe and who is left? Because we are all immigrants.
There's two people on the panel already getting ready to take them up on that offer. That was Governor Cuomo right after Election Day and before the Trump administration had even issued its travel bans and now immigration orders. Well, today, as we told you, the Department of Homeland Security released its new immigration and deportation rules. Now, it includes expanded and expedited deportations, immediate deportation of any convicted criminals, including people who defrauded or public benefits, 10,000 new ICE agents it calls for, and also expanding detention facilities. The local cops, they'll be recruited to help with deportations. Last one is a biggie because it aims to get rid of so-called sanctuary cities. A sanctuary city simply means local police won't detain the undocumented on behalf of Washington. Now, if you believe some of the rhetoric out there, you'd think it allows violent criminal immigrants to basically run rampant in the cities. Whatever they do, they get a free pass. It doesn't. It just stops the feds from deputizing local cops. Now, local governments, not just in New York, but they are working to protect those sanctuary statuses. Democrats in Albany, they passed a bill. It would make New York a sanctuary state. It is unclear, however, whether that bill will advance any further. Let's bring in our panel right now. A lot to digest here. Jessica Proud, Republican strategist, PR expert with the November team. Dominic Carter, political journalist and author. Richard St. Paul, Republican strategist, former vice chair for the National Black Republican Association. And Andrew Whitman, our senior political correspondent. Okay, as a good Republican who always has gotten after Democratic administrations for spending what they don't have, do you wonder where we're getting the billions of dollars here to pay for the detention facilities, the 10 to 15,000 new people they're going to hire, the wall that we still don't know where the money's coming from all this, and Mexico says don't look at us to write the check. How are we paying for all this?
Well, we'll have to see, and that's clear. Well, that's clearly Congress's responsibility. They have the power of the purse, but I don't know why this is a surprise to anybody, because this is exactly what he laid out during the campaign, and he's following through on campaign promises.
Border south of the border, they're going to pay for the whole thing, and that's not happening.
Well, we'll see what happens there. You know, obviously different things have been floated. However, the issue of sanctuary cities, it does end up being more than that, because you have in New York City, for example, you have the municipal ID cards. The city council is trying to have non-citizens vote in municipal elections. I mean, this is a bubbling issue that Trump is the first one to ever raise the issue of immigration and take it on head on. So, you know, Obama was deporting undocumented immigrants throughout his presidency, and no one really seemed to talk about it then. So I don't know why this is so different. Criticism from
the left. 2.7 million people were deported under Obama. They thought that was heavy-handed.
More than that of Bush, too.
Right. So it's not like people, you know, you get here, you get in trouble, you stay here. Right now, today, if an illegal immigrant commits a felony, a violent crime, they're getting deported. It doesn't matter how bleeding heart you might call de Blasio or the rest. That's the rule. That's the law.
But that wasn't happening, Rich. Like you just saw.
You had
actually, well, to some degree, but not all of them. You just saw in New York City last week. There were two men living on Staten Island. One was convicted of raping a young girl, and the other one served time in prison for assault. And they were out and living on Staten Island. And then everyone's saying, "Oh, families are being broken up, and the ICE is raiding people's homes," when all they did was go after those two people. So why is that causing mass hysteria?
ICE is raiding people's homes and is breaking up families, not necessarily in the case of those two people on Staten Island, but it's happening across the country.
Who? That is not a convicted criminal. Whose families have been broken up?
Check the news. It's happening all over the country.
Here's one thing we do know. They say this weekend the Dreamers, they're going to leave them alone. But there's no clarity.
Unless they commit a crime.
Okay. And there's no clarity in terms of what do you consider a dreamer? How old does the kid have to be? There's no policies in place, Richard. And the one thing we do know from the last month, what he says as a candidate versus what he does as a person are oftentimes very, very different things, let alone they don't always get their policies together before they decide to shoot first and ask questions later. Chuck Schumer today put out something saying it's not going to make us safer. Clearly, he's ready to have a political fight over this. Do Republicans, and I'm talking in some states here where you need the labor, let's be honest, for the guys to go into the farming communities and the rest here. Do you think Republicans across the board are saying, you go, Trump? Or some of them a little bit concerned here that he might be going too far without really thinking this thing through?
Well, let's look at what the people say. According to a Harvard Harper poll that was done for the Hill, the paper in D.C., 88% of people are opposed to sanctuary cities. So that goes to tell you that the President Trump is on the right.
And what percentage of those even know what they are?
I mean, it's hard not to, right?
No, I tell you, people think sanctuary cities means they look at that dirtbag in San Francisco for what he did, and he killed those people, right? And they think, well, that means that's all these people. The reality is something very different.
It's where people go to pray, a sanctuary. They know that it's to harbor illegal aliens. And so people are opposed to cities doing that, especially spending taxpayers. You can't sell. Look, I've been an elected official.
Especially
you
if
can't
frame
sell
the
it.
question that way, Rich. I mean, especially
but
if you frame, should New York City be harboring illegal immigrants is going to poll badly.
That's exactly what they
want
to
do.
But
should immigrants who are detained for low-level misdemeanors be deported back to their countries?
Well, that's a different story.
It's the same.
That is a different
exact story. It's just phrased in different ways, and that gets you different poll results.
Convicted criminals being deported first.
You're an attorney.
Okay?
You're an attorney.
And I've handled immigration issues before. And I know there's another side to
you know what they say to this also, which is no more due process, no more protections. You get arrested, you're getting deported before you even have a chance to lay your case. You comfortable with that, counselor?
No, I'm not comfortable with that. And here's why. Because there are people who actually have status in this country. Those are people who are resident aliens. You should have a due process. But if you're here, what they call without inspection, that means you came in this country and you didn't check with anybody, you just came in this country illegally, then you don't have the same rights as somebody who came here and through the legal process. And therefore, especially if you, and this is what the Trump administration was looking at, is if we find out you've been convicted of a crime, and it may be a misdemeanor, not just arrested and charged, but convicted.
You're making a leap there, Richard.
No,
you're making a leap.
I'm not making a leap. This is according.
If they were convicted of a crime, they can still be deported.
But you could be deported just because you're here illegally, but I'm talking about what the focus is. The focus is people who are convicted of crimes is the first focus.
But,
not just,
and
if you're here illegally, of course you could be deported.
The leap where Richard's going, and he could be proven right, but it's as if, hey, all we're doing is taking the laws and the books and we're just making sure they're enforced. Clearly, that was not the directive that candidate Trump said, which was, I'm going to deport them all. Mass deportation. Said it numerous. Whoa. You say he can't do it. Now he's looking to fund this. He doesn't have the money. And I think he's sending a clear signal to certain parts of this country. We don't want you here. Get out. And if you don't get out on your own, you better not. Now, I also know other people say, you get smacked around or something else. You're not going to the cops anymore. You got a problem here. You're going to go further underground. I'm not, believe me, you don't need to suture my heart, the bleeding heart here to take care for everybody. But there are consequences. Politically is my question to you, Dominic. It's not just the de Blasios and the Cuomos. Democrats think this could be an issue for them because once people put a face on this, both ways, Republicans can flip this too.
Right, I agree. Democrats will be able to take this issue and run with it. A lot of Americans agree what we've just heard from my colleagues here in terms of fighting immigration. But Richard, you said sending a signal. Is sending a signal that you are a second-class, I was going to say citizen, but you're not even a citizen, because what the president is saying, it's going to cause fear, mass chaos. It's going to lead to enormous problems. And Democrats will be able to stamp this issue with Trump's face on it, and every Republican from local dog catcher up to county executive up to Congress are going to have to deal with this because it's going to create a nightmare. Look at what the executive order did, and that was just a couple of days.
And that's my thing, and I know we've got to hit a break here, but my thing is it sounded good, it polled good, and then all of a sudden when you started seeing people, green cards, visas, translators trying to get in the country that worked with our troops here, et cetera, families getting separated at airports. The one thing no one's going to debate is this administration is a gang who can't shoot straight. They haven't formalized a whole policy on this. Oh, come on.
No, I wouldn't. You guys love to make it out that they're in complete disarray. Was that a problem?
I'm hardly on
Absolutely.
an island
Yeah, the press loves to make it out that way. I wouldn't disagree that had problems with the rollout. But I want to ask a really serious question. That clip that we just saw of the governor saying, if you're going to deport immigrants, start with me. You don't think that is inciting fear and spreading misinformation? First of all, he's not an immigrant. He was born in Queens. He's an American. And stop sending the message that that legal immigrants are going to be deported. That is so reckless for the governor of New York to be saying things like that. It's crazy.
For his messaging on immigration.
That's an insane. You're going to defend that statement,
as opposed to the
Andrew?
president of the United States, his messaging on immigration has been
You are going to defend that
Jessica,
statement
you
and
are
say,
as
as
good
an
as
immigrant,
anybody, but you're giving a pass to the president if you're going to
I'm
indict
not,
him.
and I disagreed when he said a Muslim ban. I disagreed with that
Again,
too.
Cuomo messaging bad on immigration, Trump messaging good. That's what you're saying.
When did I say that?
Well, no, but
He
you're
said
hammering the
there's
governor
He said
and giving the
there's
president
fear.
a pass.
No, I'm not giving him a
You
pass.
don't think this president has stoked fear in immigrant communities?
Yes, I do.
But you're using your oxygen on the panel to go after Governor Cuomo for
yes, because you
showing
just played
solidarity
the
with
clip.
the
So
immigrants?
yes.
How many other people stand with
Absolutely
other
not,
affected
Andrew.
groups and
No
say,
way.
I'm one of
He's
them?
the governor. He should not be spreading misinformation saying that I'm an immigrant. Deport me. You were born in Queens.
Did he say he's an immigrant?
Yes.
No, he
said,
didn't.
he said
didn't.
start with me.
He said start with me. He did not say I'm an immigrant.
I think at the end of the day, President Trump said, this is what I'm going to do. The American people still are with him. He's enforcing the immigration laws. So who you are looking to support sanctuary cities, I don't know, because a high percentage of Hispanics voted for President Trump, a high percentage of women, more blacks
more than vote for Bush. But let's not make it sound like
more blacks voted for Trump than Romney. So there's a lot of
that was a high bar there, Richard.
You know what? It is that's pretty good for Republicans.
Still in single digits, my friend. All right, coming up next.
Point of that is people voted.
What the president says isn't necessarily what he does. Now, all presidents, you can say, do that. But we're going to talk about, and I want to hear these guys explain to me how you can condemn in one hand and in the other do the same. Stay with us.